everybody and welcome to my channel. This is youmsbooks. My name is Youmna, and if you're new around here, I like to talk about books on YouTube. And today I wanted to make a favorites video where I will share everything that I've enjoyed discovering last month. I plead guilty. I have bought a few books in the span of a month and a half or so I'll make a little haul about that. And also I'll do a little update of the books I've been reading, enjoying or not enjoying. If you're interested, let's get into this video. The first book I will talk about is Merag, which I finished reading last October. It took me about 2 or 3 weeks to read this book. I had been making little updates on vlogs. I finally finished the book, and all in all it was quite a good experience. I have to say I am a bit disappointed about the writing style. I was expecting a lot more from Christopher Paolini. Again, I had to remember that Merag is a middle grade book and that I could not expect adult fantasy out of young adult, or rather middle grade fantasy. So that's the main point, but I would still recommend it to people who enjoyed Aragon. I actually recommended it to my father and he really liked reading it. The writing style didn't bother him so much. He was just very happy to find Merag and a fantasy world with dragons in it. The second book I am still currently reading. I feel like it is a never-ending book. It is Jonathan Strange and Mr. Noral. I have about 200 pages left to finish the book. It is quite a journey. As I had been saying from the beginning, this book really surprised me because it led me to places I didn't think it was going to lead me to. I am interested in Susanna Clarke's work. This is only my opinion, of course. Susanna Clarke has a very literary way of writing, in a sense that she will use a lot of metaphors and also a lot of irony and sarcasm, and sometimes it does cast you off guard. Something that I cannot take off her is her ability to actually bring the reader to a whole different world. She really creates a universe with characters and a story that will stay with you even though you don't want it to stay with you. During my experience of reading it, I did not get attached to the characters, to Jonathan Strange or Mr. Noral. And I think that's the whole point of it. She often makes fun of them and kind of shows how vain magic can be. Of course, there are parallels you can make with the Industrial Revolution, and you can read it almost as a criticism of 19th century society, where there are a lot of technical progress, of scientific progress, but also where everything is kind of put into question. For that historical aspect, I really liked it. The whole discourse on war and military campaign was quite interesting to see how the magical system is kind of drawn into the Napoleonian wars. It actually is more of a critique of society of the 19th century, and you can also read it as a criticism of today's society. So the book was published in 2008 and it hasn't really aged that much. To say that this book was Susanna Clarke's first novel is absolutely groundbreaking. I was really surprised because she does know what she's doing. She is very aware of her strength as an author, and in a narrative point of view, the book is really good and very well written, and it has earned a lot of awards for this. So for example, I did tag a lot of passages that rang to me, that were very interesting to me, but it is quite a long book to go through if you want to understand everything. I will finish this book. I just think it will take me about another month to finish it. The next book I was reading and that I actually DNF'd was the collection of short stories by Washington Irving, which I will put a picture of somewhere around here. I DNF'd it because I really didn't like the author's point of views and opinions on a lot of things, mainly on how he viewed women. I chose this book thinking there were going to be horror short stories. However, I've read 10 short stories and there was about one or two that kind of drew close to the horror genre, but not really. Short stories are often a miss for me. I haven't found a collection of short stories that I really enjoyed yet. I didn't want to spend more time reading a book that I didn't enjoy. I cannot talk about favorites of this last month without mentioning my amazing trip to London with two of my best friends. London is probably my favorite city in Europe. In England, however, I've had the opportunity to travel to Manchester and Liverpool, and those two cities are just top tier. London was a favorite of mine. My trip was amazing, and I actually went to the theatre with my friends. It was His Majesty's National Theatre located in West End. To see a musical. We went to see The Phantom of the Opera. It has to be in my favorites of all time. This is the second musical I've been to. The first one was Mary Poppins. I went to see Mary Poppins about 10 years ago and it was such a great experience. But The Phantom of the Opera, I was not expecting anything. I just remembered as a child hearing about the story of The Phantom of the Opera and kind of liking it. But I went to the theater quite blindfolded. I didn't remember anything of the story. It was great to see it during October with the Halloween and autumn gloomy vibe there. The comedians were really great. They were all lyrical singers and opera singers rather, and it was just amazing to experience it in a theater and in London. I don't know when the show will end, but you can definitely go there. Which brings me to the book I am currently reading, The Phantom of the Opera by Gaston Leroux. So as you may know already, I am French and I like reading French classics in French. And The Phantom of the Opera is set in the Paris Opéra Garnier. And I really wanted to test it, so I borrowed it from the library. I am only about 50 pages through. I am enjoying it so far. I know the story, but I really wanted to see the original. I can already see why it was adapted as a musical. It has so many aspects of a musical within the writing style, and yeah, it is a really simple book to read, I think, and I am excited to read more of it. Now moving on to the books that I have bought in London. I had a list of books that I wanted to buy there, but I didn't find most of them. The only one I found was the infamous Sally Rooney new book. So the first day of the trip was really about doing touristy things. So we saw Big Ben, Tower Bridge and Piccadilly Circus, and we went to the big Waterstones. No, it was not a Waterstones. Was it a W.H. Smith? I can't remember. One of them. It is the biggest bookstore in Europe. I bought 3 new books from that bookstore. I did not plan to buy only blue books there, but I guess that's what I went for. So the most obvious book, which was on my list of books to buy, is Sally Rooney's Intermezzo. I've only read Normal People. I did start Beautiful World, Where Are You, but I did not really like it. And the bookseller in W.H. Smith actually told me that this book was the best one Sally Rooney had written, and a lot of people are saying that even if they did not like Sally Rooney's other books, Intermezzo still was a hit for them. They really liked it. I know it is about grief and about 2 brothers who lost their father and who are young adults. I think one is about 23 years old and the other one is close to 30 years old or something. So I bought it at £20, and on the last day of our trip we actually went to a discount bookstore that's called The Works. I don't know if you've heard of it. It was actually £10 in the discount bookstore. I was gutted when I saw that the works had it in stock. I didn't think they would have new ins and new arrivals, but yeah, apparently they did. The next book I bought from the same bookstore is Stories of Motherhood. So this is an anthology by Pocket Classics. I do have another book from this publishing house, which is Stories of Garden, which I bought 2 years ago. And the whole point of these editions are to make you discover short stories and authors who write about the same topic. So here is the topic of motherhood, which is a topic that I am very interested in. The last book I bought from this amazing bookstore was Minor Detail by Adania Shibli. Minor Detail was longlisted for the International Booker Prize in 2020, and it says on the cover that it is the winner of an English Pen Award. I essentially bought it to read more Palestinian authors and narratives. This is a book that deals with very triggering topics such as rape, violence, and war. But I thought it was important for me to read this book and to read more about Palestine. And I think Palestinian fiction is very important too, in the fight for independence and the fight against colonialism. So yeah, that is Minor Detail. Next books I bought are actually secondhand books. The first one is 1001 Nights by Hanan Al-Sheikh, where she kind of retells the story of Ali Baba and the 40 thieves or something like that. It is a battered copy, and it does smell kind of funny, but it was only £3 and I was happy to pick it up. I think it is a good book to read at night, and especially during winter, since it is nighttime so early. A treasure box of stories. They link and loop and ensnare their readers. Donna Tartt said magical. That's exactly what I'm looking for. So this is the next book I'm reading. So the next book I bought from a charity shop, from Islamic Relief charity shop, which was just in front of my hotel in Whitechapel in London. The book is called Women Around the Messenger by Muhammad Ali Qutb. And it was only £3.50 for charity, and I thought, why not read it. It is in perfect condition, as you can see, and smells amazing. It smells like Islamic bookstores. I love that scent. It's just a compilation of stories of famous women of Islam and women who, as the title suggests, lived around the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam. I am very excited to read more of it and to learn more about women who I want to make models and examples for me and for my life. So yeah, that is Women Around the Messenger. I am now reaching the end of my video. This was a little mixture of everything I liked in the last month or so. I may do these kinds of videos more often from now on. Tell me what you think in the comments below, and share with me a few of your favorites from last month, so it can inspire me not to buy more books, because I've bought more than enough. But I am always curious to know more about you and more about what you've discovered recently. And there's always the library to borrow books from. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel, and I hope I'll see you in my next one. Bye!